After watching numerous swing tip videos on YouTube, starting golf lessons, getting my clubs fitted for my swing, and spending the last few months bulking in the gym to get more power, I found myself somewhere in the middle of a single figure handicap. I've set my goal this year to get down to 0, or in other words to be a scratch golfer. It might seem a little bit unrealistic now, but I truly believe if you set your goals high, you're more likely to enjoy the challenge and push yourself even harder.
So the question is it possible for me to get my handicap from what it is now, which is officially a 2.1 handicap, but I'm not actually a 2.1 handicap. I'll put a picture on the screen so you can see how the handicap system works. I've only got 3 scorecards in. They basically reduce your handicap. It's to stop people entering competitions and like winning competitions really easy. So my actual handicap right now is somewhere between a 4 and a 5, and it's currently June, which is why you can see this golf course is just looking lovely. Hold on, let me get a proper look how nice it is out here. So because it's June right now, I'm gonna give myself 150 days, which is 5 months, which is basically the end of October. If you live in England, you understand. Basically in October, that's when you get your last good rounds of golf. When the weather's not too bad, you can still play golf. And the goal is to basically try to get to scratch, which is going to be a lot harder than I've actually originally thought. I think a more realistic goal for me to get to is like a 2 or 3 handicap in the next 5 months or so. I've been making a lot of swing changes as well, which doesn't help for your score on the actual golf course. When I'm at the driving range, I feel so much better, but when I come out to the golf course, it's just a little bit different. Sometimes swing changes take a little bit of time to actually get into your game. So the question is, do you actually think it's possible for somebody that's around a 4 or 5 handicap to get down to 0 or scratch golf within the space of 5 months? Let me know in the comments if you think it's possible for me, but also let me know in the comments what your current handicap is and what you're trying to get your handicap down to. It'd be interesting to hear what other people are trying to get the handicap down from, like say a 20 down to a 15 or something like that. Gonna wait for this guy to get out of our fairway before we hit the ball, of course. So the first thing you need to do as a scratch golfer is actually get your fairways up to 60% hit. Now in the summer, even though you can drive further, your ball's more likely to actually hit the fairway, have a bad bounce and actually run yourself into the first cut of rough, which is actually a good shot to have. But when it comes to statistics on the actual scorecards or on the data, it would actually go down as not a fairway hit. So to get 60% fairway hit, you're realistically hitting like 80 to 90% of your shots in a fantastic position, which I'm not currently doing. I'm missing way too many fairways and losing distance from not hitting the ball with the correct apex, the right trajectory. They go a little bit too low sometimes. That's pretty good. So it's starting up the left. The fairway does go from left to right here, so that is the line in. Probably not my biggest drive, but it's a tough tee shot. So here's an interesting statistic that I actually found out, I'd say about a month ago. Apparently you're only supposed to hit your handicap about 1 in 5 rounds, which is around 20% of the time. So if you think about it, the way the handicap system works is you actually need to play obviously 20 rounds. It takes your last 20 rounds. Let's say you're someone that is a 10 handicap. You're only supposed to shoot say an 82 on a par 72, 1 out of your 5 rounds. So it actually takes a lot of stress out. Now, obviously that means the times that you do shoot your handicap, sometimes you're actually shooting a little bit lower. So let's say, you are a 10 handicap, you might shoot a 79, an 80, 81, 82. So this drive, as you can see, it's actually got into a really good position. So if we zoom in there, so that drive was actually about 295 yards total. It probably carried like, I don't know, 250, 260. So as I said, fairways hit is around 60%. That's the target I'm looking for. But ultimately, if you actually find yourself in the first cut, but you still hit the green, it doesn't really matter so much that you hit the fairway. The most important part of that is to actually hit the green. So another stat I need to hit is 12 out of 18 greens in regulations, which obviously that does count for par 3s, whereas fairways, there's no fairways on a par 3. So yeah, this is the main part of the game that I'm really focusing in on. But for me now, as a scratch player, trying to get to scratch, it's not just about hitting the green. It's about actually getting so close to the flag, I have a good chance of actually making a birdie or a really, really stress-free 2-putt just to make for a very easy par. As I said, we've got about 124, 125 now. I've changed my swing slightly. I've got a bit more shaft lean, which means my clubs are de-lofted. I really need to go and get a carry simulator session to really know how far my ball's going. Actually, now we've got some wind picking up. This is also another part of the game. Rather than just looking at the pin, actually think, would I rather be left here? Because if I'm left, I get to putt uphill. If I finish this ball to the right of the flag, I'm going to be putting downhill, which means more break, less chance of actually making that putt. In fact, I know this is going to be short. The wind's really picked up the last couple of minutes there. I'm going to pick my wedge and just kind of hit one a little bit lower, try to aim for about 130 to 133 yards, kind of like low 130s. That would be the perfect number right now. maybe even a bit more. That has really picked up the wind. If I miss, try to miss left. Let's see if I can do that. It might be too much distance, but it's definitely left of the flag. You know what, that's actually pin high. And it's exactly where I said I wanted the miss to be, or actually where I was aiming. So yeah, I'm happy with that. That's exactly what I need. So there's two stats that I look at when putting, or at the end of a round, basically. Obviously the total putts I actually take out on the golf course, but sometimes that stat can be a little bit misleading because there might be times where you actually have missed the green and you're putting off the fringe and you actually leave the ball really close to the flag for an easy one putt. There are times also where you've hit the green, which is obviously better than hitting the fringe, but then you've got like a 60-foot two putt, and sometimes you might make a three putt. So total putts isn't really a statistic that I care too much about. The most important one that I'm looking at right now is actually total putts when I hit a green in regulation. The goal that I'm trying to get to is about a 1.8, which means that I'm two putting most of the time. I'm free putting almost never, but also I'm getting a lot of one putts when I'm hitting the green regulation, which is an opportunity that we're going to have right now. Yeah, this is pretty much exactly pin high where I aimed, although I pitched in just over here, so it's rolled out about 3 or 4 yards, slightly right to left, and this is how I've started to read my putts recently. I'm not going to go into depth in this video about how I'm reading putts, just because you probably spend forever doing that, but it feels slightly right to left. Because it's uphill, it's not going to break as much, so I'm probably going to start it just outside. See if I can start it a few inches outside the right side with the correct pace, uphill. Please get there. Oh, there we go. But it's a stress-free par. I went a little bit past that, more past than I would have liked, but it's a stress-free par. And finally, guys, the other part of my game that I really need to focus on is actually getting up and down in these situations. I've probably not chosen the best hole to do this on because of there's shadows on the green, but you can see the pins at the back here. So let's say we've actually missed the green completely and the ball's just landed here. Obviously from there, I can't use my putter. So now I need to be able to get up and down in this situation. And I think statistically, I want to be able to do this 30 or 40% of the time from this kind of position. Let me see how far out this is. So it's about 24 yards. I wouldn't usually use that, but I just wanted to get the exact number so you guys can actually know for the video. So in this situation, to get up and down, really, you need to be getting this within 5 foot. As you've probably seen in the previous videos, I've done a lot of work on chipping, but chipping off of thick grass is so different from firm grass. How much height do you want? As you can see, this is a back pin, which means that I'm not going to be able to get this to stop with the trajectory, but because it's rolling uphill, it won't run out as much. There's a lot of little intricacies about chipping to get this to stop exactly where you want. This is going to run a little bit from right to left, so I'm going to aim to the right of the pin and try to hit it just before that slope, or actually just on a slope. That looks pretty good. So it's landed on before the slope, and I think, yeah, it's about 4 or 5 foot. So that's a perfect example. If I could do that every time, I'd be walking off, scratch most of the time, because I'd be having birdie opportunities and I'll be able to get up and down with pars. A bit right to left, so going uphill, so it won't break too much. Have I given it enough? I have. Just in the right side of the cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some stats on the screen for you guys. If you're trying to get to single figures this year, I'm going to put some breaking 80 stats, because you need to be able to break 80 to get into single figures. Also, if you're trying to break 85, that's going to get you into like a low middle handicap. And then also breaking 90 is going to get you basically from a high handicap into that mid handicap range. And yeah, of course, if you'd like to follow me on the journey, subscribe to the channel, that'd really help. It's just me and my camera most days. Editing the video myself, and it's quite a bit of work, so I'd appreciate if you want to subscribe. We've got about 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers already, which that's crazy. Did not expect that so quickly. Keep your eyes out for some more content as well. I'm going to be playing some golf with some other scratch players, which will actually teach me, but also help show you guys how to play better golf, because I don't want this channel to be all about me and my handicap, which pretty much so far it has been. So I want to bring some other people on the channel more often. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.